Hey, what's up, everybody? Pat here, great for recovering alcoholic and addict, just like every day. Guys, please don't forget to subscribe, leave the video a like, drop me a comment, and by all means, share with anybody you think might get something out of it. And that, guys, happy Monday. Whoa, is it cold in Boston today? Guys, if you're out there fighting, struggling, surrender, man. Find the beauty in surrender. Get in someplace warm. Get into a program. You know, there's beds available all the time. Recovery is so worth it. I'm telling you. I look back at the life I used to lead compared to the life I'm leading today, and I'll never understand other than the disease of addiction kept me there. Guys, we're going to get into the reading today, right? It's one of these really important ones because, again, I say it all the time. Life on life's term. Life's going to happen. It's not always going to be easy, right? But title of today's video is Walking Through the Pain. We never have to use again, no matter how we feel. All feelings will eventually pass. It hurts like never before. You get out of bed after a sleepless night, talk to God, and you still don't feel any better. It will pass, a little voice tells you. When, you wonder as you pace and mutter and get on with your day. You sob in your car, turn the radio all the way up so you don't have to hear your own thoughts, but you go straight to work. You don't even think about using drugs. Your insides feel as though they've been torched. Just when it becomes unbearable, you go numb and silent. You go to a meeting and wish you were as happy as other members seem to be, but you do not relapse. You cry some more and you call your sponsor. You drive to a friend's house and you don't even notice the beautiful scenery on the way because your inner landscape is so bleak. You may not feel any better after visiting your friend, but at least you didn't go visit a drug dealer instead. You listen to a fifth step, you share at a meeting, you look at the calendar and realize you've gotten through another day clean. And then one day you wake up, look outside and realize it's a beautiful day, the sun is shining, the sky is blue. You take a deep breath, smile again, and realize it really does pass. And then the affirmation is just for today. No matter how I feel today, I'll stay clean and go on with my recovery. Guys, it's absolutely true. You know what? No matter what you're going through today, no matter how tough it is, it's not going to be better if you use drugs. It'll only get worse. I promise you that. I will say that with 100% certainty. Getting high never solved a single problem, and it never permanently alleviated any pain, unless you consider dying, and that's not the answer to anything. Guys, there's a reason we always say this too shall pass. No matter what it is you're going through, if you stay clean, you'll get through it, right? I'm not going to lie to you and say every day is going to be easy and that you'll never struggle with anything again. But if you remain clean and you keep working your program, you'll get through it and eventually you'll have a good day. I mean, life's always going to be a series of ups and downs, and that's just life, Now, you can absolutely take it a step further and you can tailor your life by continuing to work to try to strive to improve things in your life, and over the course of time you can change your situation for the better. Guys, if anybody doubts that, look at my situation, look at my channel from day one through now. I've completely and utterly changed everything about myself, everything about the life that I'm living, the trajectory of my life, my opportunities. Things do get better, but it didn't happen overnight, and it didn't happen with any one thing. And I had to go through, particularly in early recovery, just like so many of us do, I had to go through a lot of tough situations. I had to stop and take stock of my life and then come to the horrifying conclusion that I had to let every single bit of it go. I mean, talk about a scary thing when, waking up and realizing. And it didn't come to me all at once either. It was over the course of time, guys. I'll backtrack a bit. I've talked about this many times. When I first surrendered and decided to go to rehab, even then I hadn't fully surrendered. I was planning on going to rehab for like 3 to 5 days just to get over the detox and get back out and get back to work. And thank God, at least I was doing so in faith because God put the information I needed at my fingertips in my brain. And as soon as I got into rehab, first of all, because I wanted to get out of there in 3 to 5 days, he made sure I had 12 days of absolute misery. I could not get out of bed. I get out of bed to eat and, use the bathroom, shower every couple of days, and just go right back to bed. I was sick as a dog. I went in there without a prescribed doctor, so I couldn't be treated. They couldn't give me the methadone. They couldn't give me the Suboxone. They couldn't give me the Sublocade. They couldn't give me anything, and thank God for that. I'm so incredibly happy. Now, I did work with the counselors and get a doctor who's now still my primary, and I did get on Suboxone temporarily. And guys, Suboxone is great temporarily. Don't stay on Suboxone long term. It's terrible for you, and it's just all medically assisted treatment you've got to take with an exit strategy, and take whatever works for you guys. Do whatever you need to do to get off the drugs, but make sure you have an exit strategy. We'll talk about that for a second. Myself, I'm on Sublocade. The reason I did Sublocade is because you can't skip a dose. You get injected once a month, and you're covered for that month. As a matter of fact, they do it on 28-day cycles because they found those last few days of the month it would get a little weak and people would be a little prone to relapse. So I go every fourth Wednesday, and I get another injection, and I signed on to do it for a year. And when I started having thoughts after the first couple of months of doing pretty good, I really didn't feel I needed it, and I wanted to get off it. I wanted to stop taking it so I could say I was clean of everything. But again, for all I know, that might have very well been a reservation. And the reason I stayed on it, guys, I discussed it with my doctors, I discussed it with my family, people that know me best, and the number one question that came up is, well, what is your reason for being off it? Well, just so I can say I'm not taking anything? Well, okay, well, that's fine. Let's backtrack. Is it a detriment to me in any way, shape, or form? Well, no. If anything, it actually keeps me engaged with my medical team, keeps me going to doctor's appointments every month where I'm getting other things taken care of. And so I said, okay, well, yeah, I have nothing to lose and only a backup plan to gain so that if I did have a bad day and a weak moment and a lapse in judgment and I did get high, I can't get high. It blocks the opiate receptors in my brain. So for that reason alone, I said, well, of course I'll stay on it, right? Let me stay on it for the year. Again, not permanently, because anything over a long period of time will have some sort of effect on your body, and I'm trying to be as healthy as I can. And I don't deal with cravings. I do really well. But again, as I came up to the January, February, March, April, May, June, so right about the 5-6 month mark, I wanted to consider stopping it early. And again, my God, my higher power I've been so tuned in, turned on, and tapped in. I tapped in, tuned in, and turned on to my faith that as soon as I started playing those thoughts in my head that maybe I should stop taking this, again, for no reason. The only reason I could think is it's addiction, trying to control my thinking so that I can be prone to relapse. Lo and behold, I had that Saturday where I wasn't feeling good. Sunday morning, knew I was in serious trouble. Went to the hospital, found out my appendix had burst. Now, walking into the hospital, I've talked about this many times. Forgive me if you've heard it. But walking in there, knowing that I was on Sublocade, I wasn't concerned with them giving me drugs. Because in my mind, as soon as I told them, hey, I'm a recovering addict, I'm part of the OBAC clinic, and I'm taking Sublocade, so you can't give me opiates. They might kill me. I thought that would be the end of the story. But they're like, oh no, this is, we'll talk to your primary, this is serious surgery, we can reverse it, we can give you drugs. And I'm like, that's when I freaked out. And, but what happened was I immediately said, no, for what reason? Oh, this is surgery, you're going to need it for the pain. No, I'm doing okay. I got a very high tolerance for pain. Pain meds, to my belief, and again, this is me, I'm not speaking for anybody else, I'm not telling you what you should or shouldn't do. Always have an honest conversation with your doctor for your situation. I'm talking about my situation. I was handling the pain fine, and I know full well that I've been working very hard to retrain my brain and retrain and change my life, and I was terrified at the thought of them administering some IV narcotic that's going to get me back to that crazy feeling. And my concern was, the way I look at it is this, and it's exactly how I explained to them. I said, guys, doctors, there's a monster that lives in my brain that when he's awake, I have no control over my life, and I immediately lose everything, including myself. Right now, I've managed to put him to sleep, and I've regained control of my life, and I'm just starting to build something at a time. I was only 5 or 6 months sober. I said, my concern is that you're going to administer this drug and I'm going to leave the hospital. And my only thought is going to be, go get high, you can do this, you can do that, you can connive, you can cheat, you can steal, you can... And I couldn't do that. The risk of that outweighed any relief that they were going to administer through narcotics. And again, every time I was moved to a new room, a new doctor, pre-surgery, triage, the whole way through, anesthesia just before surgery, every single one of them was like, no, it's major surgery, we're going to medicate you. And I had to advocate in the kindest, politest way, and I was trying to be kind of polite because A, it's who I am. B, I wanted them to show that I had full control of my pain. And I even had to argue with the anesthesiologist because he's like, no, it's in there, this is how it is, you're going to need it afterwards. And I'm like, Doc, please understand. I'm dealing with the pain fine. Pain is temporary. Addiction is permanent. It's taken me 30 years to fight this and finally get clean. Like, if I'm wrong, I will accept those consequences. And after surgery, if I'm laying in bed begging and pleading that I can't handle the pain, please give me something, you can give me something. And eventually it'll kick in. But until that happens, I absolutely do not. And again, if you can explain to me why I need these drugs as part of my surgery, other than post-op comfort, well, you know what? I'll let you handle the medical, but I'll be in charge of my comfort level. And I believe I'll be perfectly fine with Tylenol and Motrin. And the guy thought I was crazy, but he had, I told him straight up, I'm like, Doc, unless you can give me a better reason, I'm sorry, I refuse to allow you to administer those drugs. Like, simple as that. I think I even actually used the term, I am DNR if I'm required to have an opiate in my body, right? I mean, I took it a little far, but I was trying to have a little humor. Guys, when I woke up after surgery, the pain was a fraction of what I was feeling going into surgery. I immediately knew I had made a good choice. We get so off on a tangent, I forget what the point of that was. But again, I knew that this too was going to pass. Like, I knew the pain that I was experiencing was temporary, right? Like, I knew that if I didn't use drugs, I could continue a future. And that's been my baseline all throughout, guys. And that's the thing, like, life is going to happen. Oh, so I'm sorry, this is all about medical assisted treatment. I am all over the place, guys. I get into these things and I lose where I'm going. Forgive me. But, so, I decided to, right then and there, I was so glad that I was still on that drug because I didn't have that anxiety and I didn't have that it came up at a moment's notice because I didn't know up until that point that they could. So I decided since then to stay on my Sublocade, and my year is coming up, and I'm going to have a conversation with my doctors, and I'm going to do a little research on my own because I truly believe I am ready to come off of it. But if it's, if there's nothing to lose being on it, and I know I can't, I just know it's time to man up and come off it in January. So that's the conversation over. Like, I know that's the case. But again, I made my choice and I followed that through, guys. And one thing I've come to understand day in and day out, and I've had more good days than bad throughout here. But the point being is, so long as I choose to deal with life sober, then I don't have to worry about addiction. I don't have to worry about the disease that I carry. The deadly disease that I suffer from cannot affect me so long as I choose to walk through the pain, to face life on life's terms. And here's the thing, guys, when I've taken it a step farther, there's so much more than that. But again, I tailor a lot of these readings to people in early recovery. Anybody struggling, I want you to have the information and the lessons. Guys, what I have found over these last 10 months is the growth, the expansion, the clarity, the desire, the learning. Like, guys, I was really lost. I needed to find out everything about myself. I'd been reacting to outside stimuli for 30 years. I literally hadn't formed a thought on my own in decades. Like, I didn't know what mattered to me. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know anything. So I found, so long as I choose to focus on my life and choose to not react, but to digest situations, look at them honestly, kind of weigh the factors, and then make an informed decision. And again, I don't always have the answers, so I just make the best decision. What seems like the best decision for the biggest impact, the best reasons. Helping others, expanding my own life, getting me deeper in recovery, like things of that nature. the more I've done so, the more I found other areas of my life that I was not living to my potential, not living the best I could. So I've incorporated these things into those, like choosing, if I cut a corner today to avoid pain, that's crazy to me. I wouldn't even consider it. I embrace pain today because I'm finding that the things that hurt the most are the areas that I need the biggest help, the biggest work in, like I need the most help with. So then, as I face those and I deal with these, and I learn and I analyze my emotions, my thoughts, my actions, I'm able to change those situations and make better decisions moving forward. And every time I've done so, another avenue of opportunity has opened up for me, and I've been able to step into another level of my life, or another level in any situation, guys. Like, you know, just over 10 months clean, and I'm running a business that I dreamed of for decades. I'm 2/3 my way to owning my first rental property. I have literally everything in place. I just need a couple more months of saving, and every month I save a little more than I did the month before. So as time goes on, I'm getting there faster and faster. And it's not from avoiding, and it's not from ignoring, and it's not from lying, and it's not from cheating. It's from being honest, working hard, being compassionate, listening to other people's concerns instead of walking into every job thinking I know everything there is. I've learned more by shutting up and because it's one thing I always did. I had a tendency to, like, I'm very good at mechanical things that I do, and so many times somebody would say 3 words and I think I have it figured out. No, there's more than one possibility here. So I've learned to let people speak. And I've learned so much more, guys. I've cut my diagnostic times from before, in half, because instead of hearing one symptom, I might hear 2 or 3 symptoms when I let somebody fully speak. Guys, we just learned so much more. Embracing pain as being a part of life, and particularly the further you are out of alignment, the more pain you're going to feel. But if you embrace it, you can acknowledge it, and then you can correct it, and then you can learn from it, and you can move past it and not have to repeat the pain. Guys, every day is a new day. If you're hurting today, go to bed tonight and pray and meditate and listen for an answer and make a better, different choice tomorrow. And even if tomorrow's not, 100% sunshine and beautiful, you'll be one step further, and you'll have one more day clean on your calendar, and every day clean brings you, closer to the end goal of living a fully surrendered, productive, happy life. Like, guys, walk through the pain. This too shall pass. No matter what you're going through, this too shall pass. And sometimes they're in tough ways. Sometimes we have to face, some pretty tough challenges, and it's not always going to be easy. But you know what? If you get into a meeting and you build a recovery network, you'll never have to face it alone. And that's the one thing I can promise you. If you're going through something terrible and you have nobody, drop me an email, drop me a comment. And particularly if you drop a comment, there's usually other people watching too. I've seen people over the course of these last, 308 or 9 videos we've made. People have reached out, and other people reading or watching have read the comments and offered advice and offered sympathy and just, camaraderie. Guys, it's a beautiful program if you let it be. Guys, thank you so much for being here. Always remember, God loves you. I love you. We'll see you in the next one.